special occasion. Do it Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, holidays and weekends. We can have one more party. There's more hell we should be raising. One more party now, one more party tonight.
Hello everyone, today we're just going to be doing the background for what will be tomorrow night's live. I do a live on my Facebook group. I'm saying this for the benefit of people on YouTube instantly. I do a live on my Facebook group, which is Miss Acrylic Paintalot's group, every Saturday at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. You'd think I'd know, wouldn't you? Because I show up.
In the evening UK time.
Yeah, 7 o'clock in the evening UK time. Thanks, Mr. Handyman. We have, as ever, the delectable Mr. Handyman manning. Well, he's not manning chat because we're video on this, so there is no chat. He's merely doing his producer-like role today. So yeah, that's that.
Though I may chat to you occasionally.
Oh, he may chat to me occasionally. Always a first.
I'll only speak if I'm spoken to, like a good child that I am.
So what we're doing today and in tomorrow's live, tomorrow, 7 o'clock in the evening, UK time, we will be doing the flowers and all the pretty bits. Today, I just want to get the background done so you're ready to follow me if you want to, or do it afterwards, whatever. But it would just be too long and, quite frankly, a bit boring to do both of them together. So this is our reference picture, which I will put up on the Facebook group, and it is by someone now long since dead, a guy called Odilon Redon. You'll see it, it's written in the title. He was French. That's why I was trying my best French accent. He was, well, I would call him an impressionist, and actually I have seen him described on Google as an impressionist. But he also has some other, when you looked him up, what did they say? It was an impressionist, was it?
I shall look it up again for you.
Look it up again, yeah.
No point relying on my memory.
No, mine either. My memory is shocking. People say things to me, I've already told you that. No memory of it whatsoever. This is not about painting, is it? Let's be honest.
Described as a French symbolist painter.
French symbolist painter.
Printmaker and draftsman and pastelist.
Okay, fair enough. Well, this might be it, pastels actually, I don't know. I just assumed he'd done it in oils. Anyway, it's very pretty, anemones. And I think they're either daffies or jonquilles. I looked up what jonquilles are because they are the flower of the month for April. So I thought I'd have a look and see what they were. And they look like these sort of little white narcissus type things. Anyway, it doesn't really matter what they are. These are anemones. They're very typically anemone coloured, and they have anemone-like leaves coming off them. And then these leaves up here must belong to these jonquil stroke daffodil stroke flowers. So that's it. I'll put that up for you so you can copy it out, print it out, and then you'll be able to transfer it to your whatever you're going to be painting it on. This is my version of the completed piece. It is by no means at all a slavish copy of the aforementioned Mr. Redon. It is very simplified, but still using some of the things that we've learned along the way about building flowers up. And I've kind of put these daffodil things where I thought they suited the picture. They're not necessarily where he thought they suited the picture, and actually these are a bit pale now they've dried, but I might go over them again. So you'll see, I mean, I've emboldened the vase and all sorts of things, but you know, it's going to be your painting, the one you do, so you can choose to put, I didn't put this in. Put it in if you want to. Leave it out if you want to. This is just a basis for us to refer to.
Inspiration.
Inspiration, indeed. And I did like the anemones. I thought they looked very cheery. But today we're going to be looking at the background. So, this white that's up here, you will notice is not on the original. And the reason for that is I tipped my white paint over. And it landed there, and I tried to get it off, but it wasn't having any of it. So by that stage, the blue that I'd mixed had dried up, so I just thought, well,
Happy accident.
as Bob Ross would say, it's a happy little accident. So, and actually, I think it looks quite nice, so I'm leaving it. That's it. The colours that I'm using today are Abstract Titanium Buff, Abstract Burnt Green Earth, Abstract Mars Black, Abstract Diox Purple, Abstract Burnt Sienna, Abstract Ultramarine Blue. This is a golden one, cad yellow, medium. If you've got the abstract version, that's equally fine, whatever version you've got. And golden pearl red. This is kind of your wish list. This is what you wish you had to paint this background. If you haven't got these colours, then mix something up approximating that. Diox Purple is I would say it's kind of essential. It's all this down here, and that I really love that with this red vase. But you could, keep mixing dark blue and dark red with a teeny tiny bit of black, and you probably would end up with something that's of an ilk that would do you for this. The burnt green earth, that's a colour that's I suspect a lot of you don't have because it's a funny old colour really. It's a colour I use quite often actually, but it's a bit like a lighter version of raw umber. If you squeeze raw umber out and add white to it, you see it's got a very greeny cast, and it's that sort of colour. So like I say, these are your wish list of colours. Use what you've got and it will be near enough. Let's take the tops off these so I know what I'm doing. And brushes today are, well, I do actually at some stage use my Deerfoot Stippler, which all of you will know I absolutely adore. Got this from Jackson's in the UK, Deerfoot Stippler, and it looks like this. And the more I use it, the better it gets, because it gets fluffier and fluffier. And I want it to be really, really, really fluffy. If you haven't got a Deerfoot Stippler, then why would you really? If you do crafts and you've been stenciling, and you've got a stencil brush that's gone a bit wayward and a bit splayed at the ends, cut the ends off it on an angle and you will have a Deerfoot Stippler. So there's a cheap workaround for that one. I'm taking these off and I'm hiding the colours from myself, so that's not a good way of going on. Similarly, this titanium buff, if you haven't got it, take some yellow ochre and mix it through some white. You might need to add just the teensiest bit of black, but try yellow ochre and white for a start and you'll be pretty close to titanium buff. It's a useful colour to have actually. Ultramarine blue, there's no workaround for that. That is just what it is. And pearl red, naphtha red would do, cad red medium would do, a bright red. That's I don't actually know where I've got that. Oh yeah, my vase, that's right. Right, so I'm using, for this piece, I used a sheet of A4 out of A4 artist board out of a sort of book of them. But I'm going to use an 8x10 board for this. It's just MDF board, it's 6mm thick. If you want to use board, I would recommend you get the 3mm thickness, because these are the very devil's own to frame, because they're actually too thick to sit in the frame. So go for the 3mm if you've got the choice. And the only thing that I really need to copy, so I'm going to have to miss a bit off the top and a bit off the bottom here because A4 is obviously taller than this, and the width is fine, but it's just the height. So I'll just make sure I've still got my leaves in there. I'm just doing that so when I come back to transfer everything over, I know where I am. So the only thing at this stage that we need to transfer is this vase. And when you do that, you will realise that Mr. Redon, Monsieur Redon, that sounded good, didn't it?
It's coming along.
The only thing that's wrong with this picture is he couldn't draw the vase straight. So I had to alter mine because it looked like I couldn't draw it, which kind of, I didn't want people to think that.
I'm sure in real life it's perfectly straight.
I'm sure it is. This is Ceral transfer paper. You've seen me use it a million times. Bored to tears with me telling you about it. Brilliant stuff. So there's my line of where I'm coming to. Really, that's it. And I'm just going to take my pencil. I don't know where my pencil is. My pencil's wandered off. I must have been using it for something else. That's fine, as long as it's got a pen. Yeah, that's grand. So this is Mr. Redon's vase. I'm just sort of drawing what I can see, and it kind of fades away towards the bottom. So I think you have to kind of make it up as you go along, really. Let's see what that shape looks like. That's not too bad. Maybe I'm chastising him and he was actually better than I thought. Sure, he was richer than I am. Although you can't say that about artists, can you? I mean, some fantastic artists just didn't click in their time. I'll give you that in case I splatter it with paint, which is highly possible. So, looking at our reference picture, it will start at the, don't draw on your paintings with graphite pencil. You can't, this side here is just coming in a bit too much for me, so I'm just going to take it out just a little bit right now. I'll be happier. Do I need that, do I?
Maybe not.
There we go. Right. So I didn't put any lines down or anything of where I thought I was going to go. I just did it, and how it came out was how it came out. Now I recommend that you do the same thing. Really, it's not exact. You know what I mean? So we'll start at the top and work our way down. So we need a bit of ultramarine. Not much. It's quite a powerful colour. Oh yeah, the one colour I didn't tell you I need is white, titanium white. Mr. Handyman's just sneaked it away from me to open up. Thank you very much. This is a big pouch of abstract, Sennelier abstract, 500 mils. It's really heavy and it's squishy. It's lovely. So you need quite a bit. Pick that up where it got squishy in the lid. So we'll just take a little bit of blue first of all. Just we don't want to. That's nice there. I mean, we want it blue, but you know, within the bounds of reality.
Just before you start that, just remind people, if you're watching this on YouTube, we're going to go into twice the speed.
Yeah, that's well said actually. Because this is kind of, well, I wouldn't say it's boring. I really enjoyed doing it. But it's so obvious what you need to do that if you're watching this on YouTube, it's now going to go, I'm now going to go like that.
How's it go?
No, not again. Right, so what we need to do now is do our vase, which is, it's a red vase, but it's kind of in the shadow, and so it's picked up these purples from around it. So we'll put the purple in, and then we'll place the red over the top, I think. We'll mix up that purple and black mixture with a bit of that white that we had. Although this is so very, very dark, but you can't see it if it's the same exact shade. So I'll just draw the bars in. Once again, hold your brush on the chisel and just follow the line around. And it's very, very dark up under there, very dark. It's quite dark down this side too. So then it gets a little bit sort of redder as it comes in. Just go over the line, but not exactly over it. Just leave a thinnest hair, so you can see where the edge of the vase is. And there's also it sort of comes up like this, which is where the middle of the vase is, I guess. And then the red. So let's place the red in. It will mix with the purple, and that's all right. But keep loading your brush with red, because you want the red to be prominent. So allow it to mix, to blend. In fact, the colour I'm using there on the palette sort of blended on the palette. And then down the side, you get this nice sort of mixing of colour. Now I'm going to take some For Real Pyro Red. You could use naphthalene would work equally as well. And it's got a highlight right here, and that's got to be absolutely red. And it sort of goes down this side here. It's very, very red highlight. And this just sort of blurs off. So that's okay so far. We'll go back into the purple. The purple that we've got here, which was a sort of purpley reddy mix. I missed a bit here at the bottom, so I'll put that in. You can see it blends as you do that. And there's a section up here that I've missed out as well. So we'll let that dry as we do the next part and see if it's bold enough once it's dried. And that's pretty much the end of our journey with regards to the 3/4 inch flat brush. I'm now going to move on to the Deerfoot stippler. You might think that you're perfectly happy with that, and if you are, that's absolutely great. You don't have to take it anywhere else. I just love my stippler, so I'm quite happy to go stippling away. And if you look at the original, it is kind of motley and out of focus, and just genuinely prettier, I think, than this. But you could spend time blending this out, and then you wouldn't need to be doing this. So let's go back into our blue, which has dried up, so I'll have to mix some more. I actually want it a very pale blue. I'm going to take that off in case it incorporates itself somewhere it shouldn't. fine. I want it to be slightly lighter than the blue we've got already. I think that's about just the job. So dampen your brush. Good blue on there. And pad it off. Come and pick some paint up. Then just as if you were stenciling, those of you that stencil know what I mean, you load your brush and then you unload your brush just to get rid of the excess. Otherwise you'll just end up with a mark that is your Deerfoot stippler, and that's not what you want really. So I'm just going to start just around the edges here. Just adding a bit of interest. Just a bit of, what's the word? Like it's not quite real.
Surreal?
Yeah, surreal.
Ethereal?
Ethereal. Ethereal. That's the word. So I mean, you can go on for ages and ages and ages doing this, forever. Or you can just, you know, go to where the edges are and sort of blend it over like this. This is a nice thing to do. I enjoy doing it. There's a little bit in here as well, I think. You might have to keep turning your brush around, otherwise you get the exact same marks going the exact same way, and it looks forced, looks contrived. Right, I'll just bring that down here as well, where they all meet down here. So you get the picture, don't you? See what's going on here. It's not rocket science. It takes off some of the sharp sort of regions where one colour meets another. That makes it look nice, I think. I'm leaving that out. I will do it before tomorrow night, but you know, I just want you to get the kind of hang of what's going on here, really. I'm just going to take some of my dark, what's it called, burnt green earth, just a little bit on the brush. I'm just going to come out from this section that we've got here. I'll try and lose a bit of that edge there. I'll take it back a little bit. Okay. So it's basically now just purples, and it's all it's doing really is fading out the very darkest purple into some of the lighter ones. Is pretty much all we're going to do. This bit here is bare board. Actually, this bit here looks like it needs a bit of attention, which I think was this colour. It's dried. I'll take some yellow. Take some yellow ochre and mix it in with that blue. See what that gives me. That's a nice colour. You know, you can't go wrong if you're using these colours, because these are the colours we've used. So they're bound to harmonise. They just have to, because you've already used them. So they will go. Actually, gold rather nicely. You can spend as little time or as much time as you want to doing this. Really, I mean that's probably going to be under the flowers, so there's not much point labelling that part. And this probably under foliage actually there. So I think, you know, I think it looks fine like that. Looks good. So just onto the purples, and then we'll revisit the vase if we feel we need to. So I'm just going to take some of the Diox on its own. Oh, please don't have dried any. Oh, helps if you spray it the right way. I'm spraying it onto my fingers. Oh dear me. Let's just see if we can lose some of these edges a little bit. They're all a bit very... What's the word? Stark. Stark is the word I was looking for. Sort them to the movement from one passage to another. We want to make it a bit more blended, but not blended. I don't think there's very much paint on my brush. I'll just do this edge of this one because this edge looks more orangey. I want to leave that as light, but not just a flat colour. It's quite jarring when it's just flat. As I say, turn your brush. You see there where I haven't turned my brush, I've got this row of brush marks. It's quite offensive to me. I'll just tap into them and try and make them disappear. So as you see, there's no great science or skill or whatever to this, but you do get a pretty nice outcome, I think, anyway. Get a nice background, good start. Right, okay, I quite like that. I think that's really, really adequate for our purpose. I like this passage here. Right, so that can go in. So, do we need to do anything else? I think we might need to purple up this vase. It's looking a bit dead. So for the purposes of that, I'm just going to take a 1/4 inch flat brush, and I'm going to mix some Diox purple, which I'm going to have to take some more out because I just haven't got enough. And a tiny bit of the red, because the vase is red, don't forget. We're just seeing it in shadow. So you get this lovely purpley red. We'll just take it down the sides. Just make it stand out. I know it doesn't in the original, and so, you know, feel free to copy the original, but I just want to, I want mine to stand out a bit more. Blend it easily away. I don't think we're looking too bad now, really. Just going to hit it one last time with a bit of the pyrrole red. Just make sure that it is actually looking really bright. Okay, right. I think that's us pretty much done. There's my original. There's the one we've just done. There are passages on it that I haven't done that I did do the first time, like down here and whatever. Crack on with it if you want to. Or as I say, if you're happy with it when you first put it down, you've blended it and you think it's looking fine, it's your painting. It really is your painting. You don't have to copy what I did, and you don't have to copy what he did. We're using this for inspiration only. So there we go. I will be here tomorrow night, every Saturday night, over on Miss Acrylic Paintalot's group, where we do a live every Saturday night at 7 o'clock. So I shall see you then, I hope. Until then, happy painting. Bye. Hi everyone, happy Saturday. It's nice when it's the weekend, isn't it? Right, we've got quite a lot to crack through tonight. I thought I'd kick it up a bit from the very loose flowers that we've been doing, but still using some of what we've learned on these. It's a beautiful painting. I think looking at it, it's done in pastels. I'm pretty sure of that now, actually. But we, of course, are going to do it in acrylics. This is the obviously a copy of the original. This is what the original looks like. It's a purple vase. Well, I think actually it's a red vase with a lot of purple shadow on it. Big dark area here, and then it lightens up towards the top. There is a video on my page and on YouTube of me doing the background if you need any help with that. Really, it's up to you. This is not going to be a slavish copy of this. It will be our version of it. And this here is my version of it. It's I quite like it actually. I'm quite pleased with it. But then again, it's flowers, so I'm always pleased with flowers. It's got these anemones, which are very pretty flowers, are very jewel colours, jewel, not jewel. And then it's got these little kind of narcissus type things at the back. I've added extra leaves because it looked a bit stark to me, but on thinking about it, I've added leaves that I know are neither narcissus nor anemone, but doing that. This is more like an anemone leaf, this sort of, it's got tendrils almost. But that's it, that's what we're aiming for. So let's get cracking. This, as I said, I'd already done the, let me see if that's somewhere I can see it, so I've got something to aim for. There we are. We already did the background, we did it yesterday actually, on Miss Acrylic Paintalot's group page. All I've done since yesterday is just smarten the side of this vase up. I don't know what I was thinking about, but I'd gone way too far over here. So I've cleaned that up. I've given the red some more highlights to make it really sing out. And I've transferred the flowers, a couple of the leaves, some of the centres of the narcissi, I don't know, over onto here as well. Just anything to make it easier for us to paint. What I recommend that we do is try and get some of the greenery in first, because it's going to be very tight afterwards to get it in between all the flowers and whatever. So I think we'll make a start with the greenery. And I have an exciting new brush to show you. I've got two very exciting things to show you tonight. First one is these brushes. There's four of them here. I think they came in a set of 3, and this is just like a wayward one. This is the brushes that I normally use, the De La Rowney System 3 ones. And this is a 1/2 inch, and it's called a sword brushes. And then that's 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, and 3/8 inch. These are really useful if you want to do landscapes for grasses, long thin grasses. They also make very, very nice leaves. Now, I'm not suggesting for a moment that you go out and buy these. I feel it's part of my job to bring you things that you may not have heard of. Then it's up to you to decide whether you need them in your life. Of course you do. Or not. And really, my sword brushes get very little use. I'm not a landscape painter. So, I'm never doing reeds along a riverbank or whatever. It's just kind of not what I do. But if you do, or if you think that you'd like to get sort of tendrils of leaves, whatever, think about having a sword. It's really helpful in that department. Right, so let's...
Some places call them daggers as well, but it's the same thing.
Yeah, some call them daggers, swords and daggers. The paintbrushes. But I guess, you could have a fight over them if you wanted. I'm using my golden open paints this evening. These ones here with a slow drying time. You don't have to do that. I'm doing it because there's so many lights around here that it's insane. And it dries. This afternoon I was doing the Tuscan house tutorial that we've got running on YouTube at the moment. We do an hour every week, every Saturday night at 8 o'clock on YouTube. And we're doing, well, I've called it a Tuscan house, but actually it transpires it's a Spanish house. There was Louise, found it, and it's a Spanish house. But that's what we're doing. And I did that today with my ordinary heavy body acrylics, and I really, really struggled. They were just drying up on me before I had a chance to use them almost. So we need to decide what sort of greens we're going to use. The fire's dead. So handyman's looking at the fire going, I think it's dead. Well, it's warm anyway. The room's nice and warm. It's boiling, in fact. So that's sap green and cobalt green I've put out there. I think we perhaps need to alter them a little bit. Straight out the bottle's never really the best. And we probably want sort of shades of those anyway. So I'll put out my titanium white. Not sure I need it right at this moment, but we will be needing it. I'll put out a fair amount of titanium white. I seem to use about 4 or 5 times more of that than anything else. And I'll put out some cad yellow, possibly to mix through some of those greens. I also want to show you another green, a way of getting a gorgeous, gorgeous green without actually owning a green. There are loads of ways of getting greens. I mean, if you appreciate, you mix blue with yellow, you get a green. So, it's quite easy to achieve. The green that I want to show you, I think I haven't got a black in my open acrylics. I've got a black, but it's a bone black, which is more like a greyish sort of colour. So in order to mix this one, I'm going to use my regular Snellier Abstract. I'll do it over here. Can you still see that? Yeah. That's a bit of black. You don't need that much black, I can tell you now. Black is a very powerful colour compared to yellow. Yellow will always come off worse, really, pretty much with anything that you put it with. It's quite a weak colour. You can't really paint yellow straight onto a canvas. That ain't going to get me very far, is it, that really, to be honest? It's dead. Or as Mr. Handyman would say, yeah, it's dead. I need to rinse it out and start again. So let's use the...
Gaina Marie.
Oh, hi again. I saw you joined today.
Susan Hole, Paula Rolls, and Dorothy Smith.
Ah, Dorothy loves anemones. They're the first flower she ever grew, apparently. So I'm hoping that she's going to have a go at this and post a version of it and see what... let us all see what you're up to. I love it when people post things that we've done. Susan Hall is our top poster of paintings that we've done. It's incredible how far that woman has come. And I'm so proud of her. I really am. I feel like a mama bear. So if you mix these two together anyway, which is black and a yellow, in this case it's cad yellow, you get this gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous olive green. And it really is gorgeous as well. Mind you, I do like the colours from this side of the world. These sort of khakis, olivey, chartreusey colours, I love them. So there we are, we've mixed that up pretty well. Normally when I'm telling you to mix things up, I'm asking you to not mix them up so well. Because we generally want a sort of 2 or 3 tone every time we pick a brush full up. But on this occasion, mix it up well, otherwise the leaves will look strange if there's black bits and yellow bits in them. And let's put our sword to the test. Let's try this small one. Not actually sure of it, but oh, it's got paint on, so I must have had a go at it, I suppose. I've got a pot of fluid retarder, which I normally have. This stuff, Gallery of Fluid Retarder. There's not very much in there, so I'm using dirty fluid retarder, but I don't think it'll affect us. So just dampen your brush. I'm just going to put a little puddle out here in case I need to dip into it. And I'll load my brush. And we'll start with, might as well be bold. So we'll start with these, this mark at the top. Are you looking at a picture of what? Have you got a reference picture?
No.
No.
I can get one though.
No, it's fine. Just asking if you have. So with the sword, it has a very, very nice edge. You can get a lovely straight line with it. And also, if you do that and just push down, you get a very nice leaf. Do that, push down, lift off. I'm just going to add a bit of that fluid retarder into this because it's getting sticky already because it's not the open ones. I'm just trying to work out where these are. It's hard to see. So I've got some stems and stuff going on as well up to this, up to these blooms, daffodils, narcissus stuff. There's one. This is the downside of doing it before you put your flowers in. There's just a whole host of stems, so let's just put some stems in. These have got to be attached somehow.
A reference picture now.
Oh, brilliant! Thank you. That's brilliant.
Might have caused a slight buffering.
Well, I'm back now, aren't I?
Yeah, you're definitely back.
Yeah, I'm back now. So
back
all
where you
is
belong.
good. Now then, in the centre of here, if you have a look on the reference picture, right in the centre, I think he's put some sort of blue flowers. I can't make it out what it is, but it's easier, I would say, to put in now than to put in. I don't know why I'm using a sword to do this. It's kind of not the right brush, but I'm off and running with it. So because the anemones come right up to this, I think that it's probably easier just to put this in now. Might want to put another shade on top of it afterwards just to give it a bit of interest. And there's the narcissus things right on the top of there. There are some other leaves that go in around them, but I'm not really sure where they are at the moment, so we'll leave that. That can go in the water because it's ordinary heavy body paint that I'm using. That's not what you do. You don't spray it on your own hand. That's just daft. I'll spray that and try and keep it moist if I can. Now let's have a look at the daffodils. We'll work from the top down. The daffodils are yellow. Now I've just said to you that yellow is a dreadful colour to try and get coverage with. In fact, it's almost, I doubt you'll do it really without adding something to it. And there's 2 ways to get around it. One, if you want something to be yellow, paint where you want it to be yellow white first with titanium white. Don't use zinc white. Although they both say white, they're very, very different paints. Zinc white is transparent. You use it for washes and glazes and stuff. Titanium white is opaque. you can't see through it, and so when you mix it with the very transparent yellow, you get some of that opacity going into your yellow. Downside of that, of course, is that you've lightened your yellow, so it doesn't have the vibrancy that it did. So what you would do in that instance is paint everything where you're going to paint yellow, paint it in white, then go back over it and paint it in yellow, so you'll get the proper hue of the yellow.
Victoria Murphy has joined us.
Hello, Victoria.
And Lena Camillari.
Lena, how are you spelling that?
Lena.
Hello, Lena. Hello, Victoria. It's really not easy when you get old. You can laugh all you like, but when you get old, you'll know what I'm talking about. So we want just a little brush to put these little daffies in. I'm going to do them in white first, all of them that I can see, and then we'll come back and put yellow over them. So I'll just wet my brush in this fluid retarder, pick up some white. I need to thin it down. This is heavy body paint, and a little brush like this fine liner or script hasn't got enough power to pick up and move heavy body paint around. So you need to slacken it off. Or if you're lucky enough to have the high flow acrylics, they're great because they're thin but really pigmented. So let's put these where our dandelions, daffodil things are going. I've marked where the centres are, and I don't think it's really going to make much difference which way they're facing, particularly. Just need to get them in. I'm sure that most of you know how to load one of these fine liner brushes, but for those of you that don't, if you're using heavy body paint or thick paint, I'm using fluid retarder because I'm using golden open. I don't want to introduce water into that system. It will just let the open dry quickly. But if you're using ordinary heavy bodied paint or thicker paint, water it down. Just bring some water over to your paint until you've got it like a puddle. Then roll your brush around in it. Roll it in your fingers, round and around. Then when it's fully loaded, keep twisting and lift it off. And then you'll get a nice point on your brush, and it will be loaded with paint for you to use. And it is amazing actually how much paint these little brushes can hold. You do a little exercise at some stage of how long the line is that you can get. It'll surprise you. But you'd also have to have quite a sad life to really want to do that. That's the sort of thing I do. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Now I'm not going to go over that anemone here. This one's sort of tucked back behind it. We'll leave it there tucked back. There's just one here, yes, one here. So by the time we've finished these, I would imagine that first ones will be thinking about getting dry, even if it is slow drying. As I say in here, that blooming NASA, it's ridiculous. You won't believe the kit that we've got. Not as a, not like Mr. H likes kits. You like tech, don't you, Mr. H?
I love tech. It is my job, really, these days.
It is your job.
I've always loved tech.
Yeah, I know you have.
Right from having a Spectrum Z80 back in 1980.
Oh, that was before you were born. The other night we were watching Mastermind, and one of the subjects was Sparta, something to do with Sparta, the Spartan Wars or whatever. I said to Mr. Handyman, do you remember that? Meaning, do you remember anything that you learnt at school about the Spartan Wars? But he took it to mean, did I actually think that he would remember the Spartan Wars and all that, which was like, millennia ago. Strangely enough, he didn't anyway, on both counts.
Part of the Spartan Air Force.
just going for every dot that I've made being one of these narcissus things. You can take your time at home and work out where they actually are, if you think that you really want to, faithfully copy. Frankly, I don't think that we need to faithfully copy. I think our version of things is going to be just fine. Now, there's two in here somewhere, which I don't think I have marked, so I'll put them in now. I don't want them over the anemone, but I do want them over that green. Otherwise, it's going to look a bit odd.
Sue Sinclair's joined us.
Hiya, Susan.
Sue.
I know.
Given her Sunday name on a Saturday.
Oh, yeah, dearly. Right, where's any more of these then? I think I've covered some of these up with my stems. What's that there? I think that's a bit of white or something. Where's the original? Oh, so not flying. Thank you. Let's have a look what's going on here. What's this performance all about? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Anyway, we'll put some white on it. If in doubt, paint it white. Same with furniture, isn't it? You can't decide on a colour, paint it white. Everybody in the UK likes white furniture. It's a bit dull to keep painting white. But that's what they like.
Ziggy's joined us.
Hiya, Ziggy. Ziggy's joined the world of art. Did you see that post that she put on the Straight? A mixed media one.
I did. Very impressive.
First goal.
I know.
Good goal.
Just showing off.
I think I'm just making up where these are now. I can't see the centre, so I'm just kind of doing my own thing, my own jam. Right, so I've got those. I think we're missing a couple over here, which are going to be yellow. See how much pigment that paint's still got in it, even although we've watered it down. It's Golden's wonderful paint, it really is. I'm not saying that because I get a kickback from Golden. If only I did. It's just cracking paint. So this one here is white, so let's give it a second coat so it stands out. Just waiting for its centre. And there's another white, which must be this one, I think. And there's some other whites on the other side. I seem to have made this one white. It's actually the back of the flower, I think. But it's white for our purposes tonight. I will be doing a giveaway tonight. I generally do a giveaway. I'd like to see some more people entering it. I mean, are you not entering because you just don't want to win it? Because if that's the case, just won't do a giveaway anymore. I don't want to foist something onto you that you're just going to be, oh my goodness, put that on the back of the file. So let's see if we can get some more people to join in for the giveaway. I will post worldwide, which is exceptional for a giveaway. You don't mind me saying.
Sinclair says, have you noticed how many artists are left-handed?
Yeah, I think they did. I think numerous studies have been done on that, and I think it's to do with which side of the brain we use. I'm a bit of a dichotomy really, because in my work, when I did a proper job, I was a scientist, so I just reckon both parts of my brain are just working on overdrive. But it is true, yeah. And a higher percentage of left-handed people get to university as well. We're just better all round. Yeah, sorry, what were you saying?
Well, I wasn't going to disagree with you. That's what you were thinking. I was just going to say, Paola says it's fascinating watching you paint. I'm so much more erratic when I paint.
Yeah, but it's a different style, Paula. It's just different. You know, it doesn't make me worse than you or better than you or you either way, whatever way up. We're just different. You know, I'm copying things here, so you've got to kind of give a nod to whatever it is you're copying. You paint from the heart. It's just different. I do sometimes paint from the heart, I'd like you to know. I don't always just do copies. But this group, this acrylic Paintalots group, it's aimed at beginners. That's what it was aimed at right from the beginning. So I hope that that's what those are the people that I'm helping. It doesn't mean to say that if you're an accomplished artist, please post your work, please do, because it really inspires the beginners to think that one day they can do that too. And really, the beginners that we've had on the group, they're really progressing. So, you know, I'm doing what I set out to do. I don't charge for this group. I know there's a lot of paid for membership groups. Paula's got a membership group, Fairy Chic Club, which is I'm a member of, and I will be a contributor to. It's a nice, friendly little group, a bit like this, safe, which is good. That's what we want. So let's get some yellow going and see if we can paint these.
Iggy says she must try the acrylic really soon. She was eyeing up small canvases in Proper Job earlier. Whatever Proper Job is, I'm not sure.
I don't know, but it's a proper job.
It's a proper job? Well, you better try her. And then Ziggy said, a dichotomy, get you. There are lots of big words.
Yeah, I just don't know when to use them.
That's not true.
Actually, I'm a bit of a pedant when it comes to grammar. Aren't I, Mr. H?
I wouldn't know.
You know, it shocks me sometimes when I'm shocked by it. You know, when you're reading the sort of, when the BBC or whoever it is, Sky puts up a little programme synopsis and it says what the programme that you're about to watch is all about. How many grammatical errors there are and spelling mistakes. Doesn't anybody check it? I just worry for people. That's the sort of thing coming out of our schools. It's worrying. So this yellow's sitting nicely on top of this white, which is kind of what we hoped we would achieve.
Olivia Harrison's joined and Claire Henry.
Hello, people. I'm so pleased that you're joining us. Do hope that you won't get bored. I'm going as quick as I can. But I do want everybody to know how to approach this, how to do it. So I'm sort of taking my time with it, really. These are white. This one doesn't exist, so it can be any colour. I'll make it yellow. Just painted that in as an added bonus. But I hope that shows up on camera. This yellow's come out really, really nicely. And these ones over here, I could make them sort of backwards flowers, I suppose. Put the centre in as if we're looking at it from behind. Because you're not always looking at flowers head on, are you? Right, so I reckon that's pretty much it. I might just slow it down. So let's get on to the stars of the show. The gorgeous anemones. So we've got lots of colours to go at here. I think I'll start with the sort of one this one's behind others. That little blue fellow there is definitely behind. I can't even see where he is on my picture. Oh, I've painted him in white. Oh well, never mind, we'll go back over him in blue. It's got the white treatment. This one's behind. This one's in front of that, but there's two blue behinds.
It's cold here. A mooning Smurf.
There's two blue flowers that are behind other stuff, so I'm going to go for the blue first. And I can't remember what colours I used on mine, so I've been puzzling over what colours I used. But this is ultramarine. It's a bit savage as when it just first comes out the pot, the tube, so we'll just tone that down a bit with a bit of white. And a bit more white. It's quite dark, the one at the back, actually. Just gonna add the merest, where's my bone black? Merest touch of bone black, because it just needs knocking back a little bit.
Marion Cornwall's joined us.
Thank you so much for spending at least part of your Saturday night watching me paint flowers. Knock that back a bit too much now. We want a nice bright blue, but not. Yeah, that's good. So that was ultramarine white and a little bit of bone black, but you know, I'm sure you'll be able to mix up a blue that you're quite happy with yourself. Right, so let's work out where this little fella really is. That's the red one, and then that's him there. Okay, I painted a leaf over him or something. I think that's why I can't see where he is very well. So at this stage, everybody that follows along with me or has watched me before will know that this is the blocking out stage. We do this to get the right colour in the right places, not really to give us any detail, just to put a background of colour in. And that's turned out to be a very nice colour when it's sat upon the background there. So we're just getting a bit of colour into here. This one I think is probably quite a similar colour. It's got some highlights over it afterwards. But I think we'll go with just a similar sort of colour. Now I'm using for this a 1/4 inch angle shader. It's a De La Roni System 3. Everybody that watches me knows that's what I use. I use it because I love it. You can, the angle is really great for getting into, along across lines and following circles and whatever. It's a really useful brush. And the De La Roni System 3 one is not that expensive. I would recommend that you get that. That would be on my definitely need list. I've got a lot of stuff on my definitely need list. Definitely need some more money. That's the most important bit there. So just put in the main colour that we think is a good match for our flowers. This one here is a wee bit darker, so we'll just add in a bit more blue to that. He's in shadow, so he's coming up darker. There's so much paint on my brush at the moment. So what have you guys all been up to today? Do tell, because I was going to say we haven't done anything interesting, but we've done 2 hour-long videos on the Tuscan/Spanish house, one of which will go out very, very soon. And that's about it really. That's the extent of my day's work.
We were in a bit of a frivolous mood when we did that one.
We were actually. And it got a bit rude actually, thanks to Mr. H, which I'm not going to repeat here because it was rude.
It's not rude.
It was rude. A little bit of this goes down there. Okay, so that's our blues set in, blocked in. I quite like that actually. It's a good colour. It's just not covering down there very well, so I'll just give it an additional bit of paint. Okay, great. Now then, the reds I think are probably the next in our list.
Paula says she was painting chairs today.
Oh, Paula, for your sins.
Yawn.
Yeah, yawn. That's when a sprayer really comes into its own. Mind you, it's difficult with chalk paint, I guess. But spraying chairs is the way forward, isn't it?
It is.
Right, so we need some red. The red that I've got is naphtha red. Whatever red you've got will be fine. As I say, we're not slavishly copying this. So just need a wee bit of that. This is also the same red as I used in the vase, and I like that. I like things to tie up. It pleases me. And it also keeps down the amount of paint that you have to buy. So this is pretty much straight out the tube, naphtha red. The highlights that go on are what make it, but they are pretty much jewel-like naphtha red. So let's just put them in. We can come back once they're dried a little bit and put highlights and lowlights in.
Ziggy said she spent the day adding products to her website.
Oh gosh.
Easily the worst part of my job.
Easily. Horrible, isn't it? I hate all that stuff. That's why I'm really grateful for Mr. Handyman. Because he's so good at it, it only takes him a fraction of the time it takes me. What was that?
Oh, say no to a wink.
Oh, was it winking at you? So we're just following around the shapes and putting in these base colours. That's part of that one there, so this comes to here somewhere. I transferred this, did I tell you that? Transferred this on before I started painting. Yeah, I did tell you that. Because everybody else is absolutely sick of watching me transfer stuff. I'm sick of showing it to you. That, is that part of that? Yeah, I think it is actually. So this is one as well up here. Goes, oh, there's a leaf right there actually. I'm guessing it goes above that blue one.
Ziggy's taking us to the loo.
Oh, Ziggy, that's just like too much information.
I know. Oh, we've been naked in bed with her, so.
Well, it's true. It's true. Obviously so good that she can't put us down, even when Mother Nature calls. So I'd say that's a bit of a compliment.
Yeah, that good she needs to go. It's that exciting.
Right, so there we are. That's the red's done. Now we've got a mauve one and two sort of pinky ones. I'm gonna do this mauve one first because it's further behind. So we've got this mixture here which is blue. Let's take a little bit of red and mix that through and see what we get. Add a bit of white to that. And lo and behold, you get a lovely mauvey colour. So there we are, as if by magic. I should tell you that what I'm painting on is a fairly, what you might call, non-traditional canvas, in as much as it's not a canvas at all. It's actually MDF, which I had cut up. I had a very large sheet of it cut up at B&Q. It's dead cheap and it makes good practice boards. And it's smooth. It's so smooth that you don't have to, with canvases and whatever, you really have to put a layer of gesso on because they're just so bumpy. You can't get any detail in it. Transporting paint. Right, okay. So now we want this to be pinky mauve. So the best thing to do is just tone it down with some white, and you will get if it's still a bit to the blue side, which that is really, just add a touch of red, bring it round to the colour that you want. Add another little bit there, because we want pink really. I still think it could handle a little bit more. You can add some white to that. Yeah, that's lovely. That's lovely. So what do you guys like to paint? Please tell me. Please leave a comment so Mr. Handyman can tell me. I mean, do you like to paint flowers, landscapes, budgerigars? What do you like to paint? I don't know where budgerigars came from, like off the top of my head, but they look like they might be quite colourful and fun to paint.
Life drawing?
Life drawing? No. Although I am very much toying with the idea of next Saturday's live being like a portrait of a girl, but more like a manga sort of girl with flowers in her hair. Yeah, I am. I didn't tell you that. That's what I'm. Yeah, because I think a lot of the people that I talk to on online, members of my group, whatever, run scared of faces, and you shouldn't. I think you're unscared of them because it's something that we see every day, and you think, oh, if I get it wrong, everybody's going to know I've got it wrong. It's going to look awful. But there's certain sort of little secrets, well, they're not secrets, to painting portraits. You need to just get your proportions right. And if you get your proportions right, you can't go wrong. Get your measurements of where the eyes are, nose, mouth. Don't aim to paint your mother or your granny or whatever on your first trip out, or even your dog. That's even worse because they are quite difficult to paint. I'm just going to lighten this up a little bit again. For this one here, it seems a bit lighter. Yeah, don't say, oh, I like, oh, I don't know, the man who plays Paul Dock or whatever. I'm gonna paint him. Just let's paint a face. Let's get the proportions right, and then you can take it on from there to paint people that you know or people that you want to paint. But it's quite good fun. I mean, I quite like painting faces. Tighten them up on me a little, so I'll just add some fluid retardant.
Ziggy says she's got lots of pieces of MDF, so Proper Job can keep their epoxy canvases.
Yeah, absolutely. MDF's great. We don't have a problem with it, do we?
No. I mean, really, canvases really from the same era as oil paints, really.
Yeah.
And gesso in and all
the
rest of it. With acrylics, you really don't.
No.
You can paint on glass.
Yeah, exactly. Or china, crockery.
Crockery.
Okay, so that's our lilac-y, pinky mauves in. They're all different colours, different intensities of a very similar colour. Now, the white one. So if you have a look at the reference photo here, you'll see, yes, it is a white flower. Our eyes are telling us that's a white flower. But when you look at it, it's actually not white really at all. So we have to paint a white flower that's not white. Okay, what colour is it? Well, let's block it in as white, and then when we come round to put the details on, we'll deal with this, the outside part of it being a sort of grey-blue, and the inner part of it being that nice olive green colour that we mixed up earlier. So let's block it in as white.
Louise says hi.
Hi Louise, was it you that found the Tuscan house was Spanish? I keep telling everybody it was you, but I can't really remember if it was.
Dorothy says she paints and quilts angels but never puts faces on them, LOL.
No, I'm not suggesting for a moment, Dorothy, that you can't put faces on things. I'm sure you're very able to, if you wanted to. Excuse me, but I know that I have talked to some people who've said they just don't dare. They've got a painting, they love it, they just don't dare put a face on. Some people say that it's because they want they want you to speak for the person. That's fine, I can understand that, but I think you should have the option in your armoury of being able to paint the face on should you wish to. Lesson rant over. So as I say, we'll just block this in white, but it really is not white at all. Well, say not at all, parts of it are. I'm sort of looking at this one sideways on actually, which is good. I don't like it when you see everything.
Dorothy says, no, I'm not, which I think is referring back to you. I'm sure you're capable.
I bet she is.
I bet she is.
Nice person to have in the group, Dorothy. She contributes quite a lot to our group. I'm pleased she's a member.
Well, she's a quilter.
Yeah.
Her territory.
Used to do a lot of quilts, didn't I?
An awful lot of quilts. Well, it was what you did your art degree in really textile art.
Yeah. Right, so now we've got these blobs of colour, and we need to turn them into these nice masterpieces. So while they ever think about drying, they're not going to dry because they're golden open, but they will tighten up a bit and make it easier for us to put the highlights and stuff on them. While they're thinking about doing that, we'll think about leaves and the centres of our Narcissus stuff. Anything planned for tomorrow then, Mr. H? Anything exciting? No?
No.
Oh, fair enough.
My days for staying off the bell curve.
Fair enough. Right, so we need some orange for the centres of these, but we also need some yellow by the looks of it for the centres of those. So I want to show you another new, well, it's not a toy, they're definitely not toys, they're brilliant things. They're called Posca pens. Posca, P-O-S-C-A, and they're by the same people that do the Unibold pens, you know, the engineers fine-tipped pens. I have got a set of 12 of these.
16.
16 is it? There's a silver and a gold, there's a black and a white, and then there is a myriad of gorgeousness. Look at that. I haven't even opened most of them. It's just great. So I'm going to leave the black and white out because I'll show you what I'll do with them later on. I'm going to put the gold and silver away. But wouldn't it be nice to sign your name in gold or silver? Or even just in generally, I mean a Posca pen, because it is a nightmare trying to sign your name with a little brush. So let's have a look and see how we can use these here. You don't have to use them for this, you can use your little small liner brush. But, so you give them a good shake, and then you just, when the paint comes through like that, that's it, and you're ready to go. So you can just draw your little circles on, your little centres. Magical, isn't it? And you're definitely not cheating, because these are 100% acrylic paint. They just happen to be in a pen, which makes them much easier to control. Okay, and the white ones have got yellow middles. This is great. I love these, I really do. I'll put the yellow middles in there. Job done. With proper acrylic paint. It's not, you're not cheating or anything else. It's proper acrylic, it's just in a pen. How wonderful is that? And I'll show you what I want to do with the brown, black and white in a little while. Right, so let's do some leaves. Where's my sword brush? My sword, my sword. Okay, so where we really need some leaves, I think. Oh, just drop the water on there. Let's have a look at the original, not my version of it. They come down here, they come out of here and here. There's some funny business going on up here. Some like yellow, I'm not sure what it is. It's like yellow and blue or something. I've chosen to ignore it because I couldn't really make it out into anything. So I've just ignored it. So I'm just going to mix my darkest green through the chromium green to get a nice mix. And the anemone leaves, like I say, they're a strange leaf. They really are. They've got some crisscrossy stuff happening here. So just give a suggestion of that. I don't know what it is. But we'll, in deference to the guy who's long since dead.
Mr. Redon.
Monsieur Redon. Monsieur Redon. That's his name. I can't see the chat. Has anybody told me what they like to paint? Give me a clue as to what I can bring you that you might like to see. Too much paint on that. So I'll go down and try and make these anemone sort of leaves. Actually, that's not bad. They are a bit like that. And then it sort of comes out of here. Betty Dorothy's sitting at home saying their leaves are nothing like that. Nothing. Sorry to offend anyone. But you can do it better on yours, I'm sure. This is kind of dark in here. We'll come back later on and darken that area up completely, because if you put dark under there, it'll really bring the flowers forward. You'll see when I do it, it really makes a heck of a difference. Some greenery coming out of here, some description. So I'm using my sword brush to get nice, different sort of lines. Just chasing that over into the dark. Oops, yeah, put in the pink. There's another bit there. If any of you have a go at this, I'd really like it if you would post your pictures. Don't worry about people saying it's not good or anything like that. We're not that sort of group. I mean, we're really, really not that sort of group. First time anybody says anything like that, they are absolutely gone. I'm not having it. Just absolutely not having it. Okay, so probably need some lines, some daggery sort of strokes. Chickened out on that one, had too much paint on it. So there's some sort of going up here.
Barn owls. I'm not sure whether that's in
She wants to see barn owls. Oh, Susan, I don't know if I can do barn owls.
She should be on our fell at dusk.
Yeah, I know. Brilliant.
Barn owl flies down the fell
every night. Looking for his supper. Okay, I think till we get a bit more, I think there's probably some more stems and stuff here. But we'll take stock of it again when we've put the details in and see how it's looking. It's coming along. It's coming along. It's coming along. I think the next time we go for greens, we probably need to go for bluey green. He seems to have used quite a bluey green in places. And this needs a different shade of green on it as well. In fact, I won't do it with that. I'll do it with my little 1/4 inch. Let's take some darker green here and just mottle that up a bit. So you can't quite tell. I mean, it'll be foliage of some sort, but it won't be smooth and flat like it was. So there. Okay. Right, now it's time to do the nice bits, the dressing of the flowers. I think what we need to do first off is put the centres in. It's a huge difference to the flowers actually, once you get the centres in.
She likes abstract, especially Kandinsky and Miro.
Yeah, I could see that she would like that. I'm just not a huge fan. Maybe it's just because I can't do it, or my mind doesn't work that way. Maybe it's a scientist in me that likes to see, that's it, it's correct, it's proper. But by all means, have a go. We're always keen to see what everybody's doing. Right, black.
Paula says she likes Dali. It's bonkers.
I don't like Dali. Don't like surrealism at all. Do you?
Well, it's not that I don't mind it, but I wouldn't choose to.
I find it quite unsettling.
What was the one in Kelvin Grove we saw? Was that
Dali?
That was Dali.
Jesus.
Yeah, the crucifixion.
Yeah.
But of course, it wasn't surrealist, but it was.
Well, it was the angle that he'd done it at, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It worked. So I'm putting these circles in, which I could very easily put in with a little brush. But I'm actually putting them in with Posca pen, because we have it, so why not? The middle of an anemones really are black. Very few things I would actually recommend that you use black for as an artist, because it's quite a sapping sort of colour. But the brightness of the anemones is set off by these very, very black centres, and they actually have little dots of black all the way around them as well, which is another real feature of anemones, which our Posca pen is going to come in very, very handy for, because they just are little dots around it. And actually actually. That was what I was going to show you using the Posca pen for tonight. But I sort of got carried away. I'm going to leave that one because it's actually not black. This is quite a large centre on here.
Watson's joined us.
Hello.
Judy Brayman joined us a while ago.
Hello, Judy. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. You get a bit dispirited if you're just sitting here talking to yourself. Right, so that's our centres in. Centre of this one is a kind of, it's sort of this olive green that we were using before, with perhaps just a tiny little bit of raw umber in it, just to brown it off a little bit, just a dot. So Susan says that she wants barn owls, which is I will certainly look into doing. And what does anybody else want? Right, so now I've got a nice dark muddy sort of greeny colour, and this is kind of what this centre is. Right, so it's time to actually have a look and see how we get details in here. The details on this are that sort of bone black and touch of blue colour. So our bone black is this one. Oh, that's a bit of a large splurge. And just a bit of this mixture that we had here going on. A little bit of black. So you get this, just a greyish sort of colour. I'm going to add a bit more of that to it. I want it blue. I want it bluish, grey, blacky, this colour. That might be just a tad too dark. And now I've introduced some red to it. Oh well. You know, you can achieve a grey. I've probably told you this before, but it's worth repeating. You can achieve a grey by using any two colours on the colour wheel. I might have told you last week, in fact. But if you look at any of the colours, if you look at yellow and purple, which we found out last week were complements of each other, red and green, any of them, blue and orange, if you mix them together, you will get a grey. And it's a much more lively grey. It's got much more life in it than a white and black mixed together, which is a grey. It's definitely a grey, but it's a kind of nothing grey.
Dead grey.
A dead grey, yeah.
It has no warmth or subtlety.
No. Whereas if you mix the complements of the other one, you will get nice warmth. So I'm putting the petals in, which is odd. You don't normally put petals in. This is what he did, so this is what I'm doing. And there are marks around the top of here, going into the centre. And they're quite frequent sort of marks like this. Round, giving us the idea that the petal is round. Now this one here is actually quite dark. It's got quite a lot of this colour in it. Try and leave a gap if you can between one petal and another where there's none or very little of the grey, so it can easily be read as that's the end of one petal and the start of another. Now this sort of comes over the top. We're looking at the back of it, of this part, and it too's got a fair bit of grey in it at that end, and the line down there. about it. I think maybe we'll add just a touch of the green just coming out from the centre. Just lighten that up a little bit. So coming out from the centre, it's just got some of this interesting sort of colour, which is the colour we used for the centre, plus a bit of white. So there we are. That's kind of that. I might come back and put some white highlights on it, but for the time being, that's good. That's good. One down. Let's do the reds. They have a very, very, very bright purple on them. I'm going to try this permanent violet. It might not be opaque enough, but we'll give it a shot and see. If not, we'll mix it up. Mix it up and make it nice. No, I think we'll be all right with that. Is there anyone talking to us, Mr. H?
No new comments.
No.
I presume they're all just
asleep,
in rapture or asleep, or back in the bathroom.
Oh gosh, has she come out of it yet?
I'm not sure. I didn't hear the flush.
We didn't get an update, did we?
No.
No.
The last comment was, it's the amazing use of colours and shading that I love, which I hope wasn't in relation to the bathroom visit.
There we are, we'll leave that one like that. We'll come back on the second go round, add a bit more sort of red to it and a bit of soften up off that purple a little bit with some pink. Not much, there's not much of it. Just here and there.
Paula says we are still transfixed.
Yeah. I bet when it comes round to like Christmas time and whatever, and Strictly's on, and that programme with a X Factor, I bet then we get nobody. Nobody at all views us. At all. It will be the war of Strictly, X Factor, and me. So I think they always have a war.
It says we're all watching intently, and Ziggy piped in, it was just a quick wee.
Thanks for that.
You said you wanted people to share.
Oh, of course.
Now the dog's off on one.
Well, it really wouldn't be alive without the dog going off on one. I've got something stuck on my... Could you get me a wet wipe, please? I've got really muckiness going on. Okay, so that needs more light pink than needs a bit of purple there, but it sort of needs some light pink now. Thank you. I think I've got something on my hand that's carrying paint around the painting, which is not what I want. So you see, at this stage, it actually looks worse. It looks worse before it gets better. There's no way around it, just does. So for this we want, actually that colour there is quite a nice colour. I'm going to have to get some.
Ziggy still says you still have me because I haven't got the telly.
Have you not, Ziggy? Interesting. So we're assured of one watcher then in the deepest, darkest winter. That's good.
It wasn't Ziggy that I was recommending got a telly last week, was it?
No, that was Georgia.
Ah, that's right.
Because she had 8 dogs,
5 children,
a farm,
chicken,
a veritable farm.
3 dinosaurs, 17 emus.
No, you're just being silly. But you did have a lot. Okay, so we also need some of this. If I can bring some of this back to life.
Dorothy says, yes, we all want holly.
Oh, holly. Yeah, Christmas time.
Yeah, you were thinking you wanted a Holly Willoughby.
I did,
X
yeah.
Factor.
That threw me. It absolutely threw me. Just going to add just a touch of blue to that because I just want it a little bit.
Just scroll up a bit. She says we want holly, mistletoe, and ivy at Christmas.
Yes, and nice Christmas candles. I did quite a lot of those Christmas candles.
Christmas roses.
Christmas roses. Did Dorothy say that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dorothy and I seem to like all the same things.
What's the other ones you get at Christmas? The red ones?
Poinsettia?
That's it.
Yeah, I'm not so keen on poinsettia, but I do love a Christmas rose. I do, really, cannot tell a lie there. Right, okay, so that's that. Got its second coat on. Now the highlights of this and this are going to be white, which is odd. Well, say white, they're going to be white with a lot of something else in. Well, not very much really of something else in.
White 2.0.
Yeah, white 2.0. That sort of colour, and just need some retarder in there because it's a bit. My retarder is very dirty.
He says she hasn't had a telly for 7 years.
Oh, that's excellent. I bet you're a lot more creative. I can't imagine my life without a telly, to be honest. There was a time I didn't have a telly. And I enjoyed it actually, because I just used to.
Yeah, but to be honest, there wasn't much on in 1930.
Give over, you're getting a bit above yourself.
They certainly was none around with the Spartans.
Ah, you see, so you do know something about Spartans.
I lived a very Spartan life.
Yeah. This is all sort of coming into the middle, all of this. This highlights.
Vicky says she watches stuff on replay if people keep banging on about it. She just binge watched Doctor Who from the start of the new series in 2000.
Oh my goodness. Did you get round to watching it where the woman is the Doctor? Because I used to always watch Doctor Who, but I'm afraid to say I just can't see the Doctor being a woman. I just can't watch it. It doesn't sound right in my head. So if you did, can you let us know what you thought of it, please? Is it worth watching? That's pretty much that one. And this one had a bit of outline in his petals, did Monsieur Edon, which is kind of something that you'd always told not to do. He obviously liked doing it.
The danger is, of course, if you do it too much, you end up being illustrative, which is a sort of insult we use on Portrait Artist of the Year, isn't it?
It's very illustrative. Meaning, get it out from under my nose. It's really quite light in here. I've forgotten to put a centre in this one for some reason. Not worthy of a centre.
Paula said Tom Baker was her Doctor Who.
Really? Yeah. David Tennant was mine.
For different reasons, I hope.
Oh dear. Who doesn't love David Tennant? Right. So it's just the blue ones to go in this round of sorting out. So they're pretty much bright blue with like a cerulean blue. I haven't got a cerulean blue in the opens, but I have got these paints that are really quite old. I've had them for some time now, and they're for airbrushing. So they're really, really thin. They're like high flow acrylics, the ones that Golden do. Golden do high flow acrylics, which is like ink. If you've got any old ink hanging around, or I've got some, what are the De La Rome FW inks?
Yeah.
Which I'll introduce to you at some stage. Sorry about that. I'm just going to put a little bit of that down. I want to introduce this cerulean because I think it'll stand out nicely against the aquamarine that we already used.
I think Windsor do an acrylic ink as well, but they're all whichever muches.
Well, they probably have vast differences, really, if you're into ink. You know what I mean? Like, some people would look at acrylics and say, oh, well, they're all the same. But once you get to know them, they're not. Got a bit of a sheen going on my palette here. But let's hope that's a good colour.
Too much light.
Just gleaming off it. There, that's good. Yeah, that's a nice colour on there. It's sometimes, I think the dog wants his dinner. Sometimes quite difficult to tell the right shade because of course acrylics dry down. By that I mean they dry darker than when you first apply them. So it's sometimes quite difficult to tell if you've got the right shade or not. And many's the time you'll have to go back into them if you so desire to lighten up.
Ziggy says, LOL Fiona, in your dreams.
Yeah, I know.
She's putting DT as a daughter's favourite.
Well, why would it not be? Why would he not be? I'm just talking about him because he's such a good actor. That's all. That's a nice blue on there. I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but it's really, really nice. Cerulean blue is a lovely, lovely colour. Oh, it's getting tense in here. Not too much of this on because this is in the shade, in the shadows. So I want to leave it quite dark. And then there's this one at the back that actually is really quite dark. There's a lot of this business going on. 8:21. Is that right?
It is, yes.
Have I actually been live for an hour and 20 odd minutes?
Indeed.
Oh, come on. Do you think I should leave this and finish it off tomorrow?
No.
Are you sure? Because there's a fair bit to do still.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. People can always got the option.
Well, I'll tell you now, it'll be up on YouTube in about an hour from now. So if you're getting fed up with it, just go to YouTube after, after an hour. And
Claire Holton Byers has joined us.
hello.
And Dorothy Smith says you're a fibber.
How am I fibbing about? About being an actor? Just to like him just because he's a good actor, Dorothy. Thought you knew me better than that.
You need to work on your straight face.
So I'm just bringing this centre out. It's this bone black that I'm using. And you'll see as I'm using it, it's actually not really as dark as I need it to be. In which case, I'm going to, what was this again? Was that ordinary black? I should name these when I put them out on the palette. I can't remember what this is now. I'm going to mix some aquamarine, ultramarine through it anyway. See if we can darken it down. Make it interesting. Okay, so we need to, I think, get some white out and about.
Not forgetting that centre that we're missing.
Oh yeah, not forgetting the centre that I'm missing. You're quite right. I'll use the Posca pen because I've used it on all of the others. And it would look a bit odd if it was different. I think these Posca pens would be really come into their own. What are you doing there? Get down.
After the chocolate biscuits again.
Yeah. If you were doing like a balcony, you know, with wrought iron and stuff like that, or basket weave chair, things like that, I think these would really, really come into their own. You know, I didn't need them for these centres, but I am going to use them for something else in a minute, which I shall. So I'm going to be doing a giveaway of this one, this version of my flowers, because it will invariably be slightly better than this version, which now I really feel like I've got a rush.
Paula says there are 3 words for you, men in black. Probably doesn't mean much to you, does it?
Yeah, it does. It does, because we were talking about. Well, what we were saying was, it's amazing how far your notoriety spreads. Because Paula used to have a van with fairy chic all over it. You know, when it's wrapped, you get your stuff wrapped, your car's wrapped. Livery. And it had fairy chic all over it. And people used to come and take selfies beside Paula's van, which is, well, I think it's a little bit on the sad side. And I was saying that I'd gone into a shop, a local shop, and these 2 women sort of nudged each other and said, "That's Miss Paintalot." So we were discussing this last night, and I said, you know, it's coming to the stage where we're going to need bodyguards. And that's where the Men in Black came from.
Will Smith and was it Billy Bob Thornton? Is that his name?
I don't know. Yeah, it sounds right though. So I'm just putting in some white up against this dark that we put in. Just drawing it out a little bit like that.
Ziggy asked her if she had a thing for undertakers.
No, it was all to do with us becoming so world famous. in our heads.
Like the world famous Otterburn Mill.
Well, that really will mean nothing to anybody.
We should do. It's world famous, you assured me.
Well, it is world famous. It doesn't matter, folks. It's not even worth explaining it to you. It's just boring. Right, so let's attack this white one again. So we need to knock back some of that grey whilst still leaving some. So just gently go over it. And then you end up with some nice shading, which you can't achieve with just one passage. You know, we blocked it in, we came around, we put the darker colours on it, and now I'm coming in and I'm going over that. So this is the 3rd time really that these have been attended to.
Crystal Grant has joined us and Kerry Betts.
Oh, hello, Crystal. And Kerry, all the way from Australia. What on earth time is it there?
Ziggy says it's Tommy Lee Jones. Same sort of name in it, really. And Susan Hull says James Bond for me. Obviously any of the James Bonds, I presume.
Obviously any. Right, so I'm quite pleased with that.
Anybody in a tuxedo? Do I own a tuxedo?
No, I don't think you do, actually. I need a slightly darker hue to this, but not because what Mr. Quaidum has done is he's just sort of given us petals here. This is not quite dark enough, especially when it dries, when it dies. Okay, what's wrong? I can't get grey. That's better. It comes up here to there, and then this is quite greyed out, this one here.
Ziggy says Daniel Craig.
I don't know much about the Bonds. I've never really... I mean, I've probably been to the cinema in my life 5 times, maybe 6 at a push. And James Bond thing was one that I did actually go to the cinema. I don't know which one it was. Don't even ask me. I didn't enjoy it. It's a boys' film. So I went to see Paint Your Wagon. I went to see Bridget Jones's Diary. I went to see that one where the male strippers, whatever that's called, I can't remember.
Full Monty.
That's the fella, Full Monty. So this has got quite bright white on this.
And that or Chippendales.
And as I'm coming down here, it's quite bright. I think that might be just a bit too opaque.
Kerry says it's 5 AM.
Kerry, get back to bed, lass. What are you doing? Blimey. 5 AM. I don't know why I'm saying it in that ultra shocked voice, because I'm normally up then too. This is just adding this in. Give the flower a bit of life, a bit of movement. That's quite nice then. It seems to also have a little bit of white just around the edges here. I mean, please take your time with this. I really am in 2 minds whether or not to finish this tomorrow. Because if I keep hurrying on it, it's just not going to be the best of work. But now this one here has got a white ring around, which is very, very typical of anemones. They have this white band around this black in the centre, which the Posca pen would be very, very helpful for. And it's a bit fluffy. It's not actually just a straight up ring. It's sort of got fluff on it, like that. There's not much shading, not much more shading needs to be done to that one. This one here needs a dark colour in it. That one's done. This one needs some white. Some more white, needs a sort of ring around here. As I say, it's kind of a fluffy ring.
Kerry says the kookaburras are calling out and saying good morning.
Kookaburras are so exotic to us, aren't they? Because I think they're the same family as kingfishers, aren't they?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think they are. They have the same shape.
It's usually an indication of some shared heritage.
Yeah. Anything else calling out for a white ring round a circle? No. That one could do with it being strengthened a bit though, I think. Right, so now we need to go back to the reds and knock back the purple that we put in it. So we'll get some red, a little bit of
Fluid retarder.
Fluid retarder. I'm losing it. I've lost it, I think. So we need to see hints of this purple We don't need to see all of that, all of our workings out to get to that position.
Pentimenti.
Pentimenti.
Nice word, isn't it? Nice phrase.
Mm. Do you remember when we were watching Pointless that time? And was it Pointless? No, it wasn't.
Tipping Point.
Tipping Point it was, that's right. And they were asking something about some artist or whatever. And the bloke thought and thought and thought about it. And then he said, Caravaggio. Which I just found instantly amusing.
We always refer to him as Caravaggio.
Yeah, from then on, in our house he has been Caravaggio. Right, I need some dark for this. That's just about still alive. I may be able to resurrect it somewhat. And it's got some dark going in. It's actually darker than that. And darker than that, I would say. Bone black is a very strange colour. It's grey, is what it is. So you're never going to get it black because it's grey.
She has 5 kookaburras that visit every morning.
Oh, really? For the breakfast, I presume.
Canada geese that fly over the house about 6 o'clock every morning.
Yeah, we do actually.
Making a hell of a racket.
Boy, do they make a racket.
The thing is, at the bottom of our garden is a nature reserve. So we get
I'm going to call this and do it tomorrow.
Okay.
I can't rush it. It's not worth rushing it now because I've put a lot of time into this.
So what time? We do it live tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll do it live tomorrow at...
Early in the afternoon?
Yeah, earlier in the afternoon.
3 o'clock in the afternoon?
3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, UK time. I don't want to rush it now and spoil it. It's, has the potential of being a really nice painting. So I'd rather spend some time getting it right. And quite frankly, my bum's numb. Because this chair's not the most comfortable. So, sorry to do that to you. I really am. It would be nice to carry on because we've got all the colours out and everything. But, when you compare the one I did prior and this one, we've still got a fair bit of work to do to get it up to that standard. So, I'll tell you what, I won't do a live. I'll do a video tomorrow and I'll post it onto the page. That's the best thing, I think. And then you can watch it whatever time suits you. What do you think, Mr. H?
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Ziggy says you'll have to do a portrait of me.
Mr. Handyman, no.
And then you can challenge us to do one of our other arts.
Oh, blimey. I once embroidered. I put you in an embroidery software program, didn't I?
Basically, if you think of Edvard Munch, the Scream, put a beard on it, I'm there.
It's not. It's lovely. It's really lovely. Right, guys, that's it. I've really got to move. Otherwise, my legs are going to go completely dead. Thank you very much for joining me. I realise it's been quite long and sometimes torturous, but I really want to get this right. It's our first kind of step-up painting to something proper. And as I'm going on, I can see that I'm rushing things and making mistakes, and I don't want to do that. I want to have it right for you. So I'll video this tomorrow afternoon. I'll put it straight up onto the Miss Acrylic Paintalot group page, and then you can watch it from there anytime to suit yourself, really. So I shall see you tomorrow, although I won't be live. I'll do a video of it. Thanks for understanding my predicament. I don't want to wreck it, so thank you very much. All right, guys, good night. Thank you very much, and I'll post this tomorrow. Night-night. Hi, everyone. I'm back again with our Anemone's picture by Monsieur Odillon Redon. Odilon red on to your eye. And it's this gorgeous, gorgeous, what I think is a pastel. It's the anemones and the daffodils in this lovely red vase with purple on it. I really, really like this. And this was my completed version of it. And yesterday evening, we were trying to do one for the group. No, this one's the giveaway. We were trying to do one for the group so as you could see how to go about doing it. But it went on and on and on, and quite frankly, my bum was numb and I needed to sit somewhere comfortable. So I'm back again today. We'll get it finished today. I hope some of you are thinking, that's some spurious bits of red there, but never mind. That's not the end of the world. I hope some of you are going to or are copying along with me. Right, so let's start at the top and deal with this one here, which is a lilac-y pinky colour, more lilac than pink. So in order to get some lilac, we'll mix some magenta, quinacridone magenta, with a little bit of cerulean blue, see what we get. That's just divine. Look at that colour. That is pretty. It's a shame that mauve and purple and stuff's gone out of fashion. When I was a kid, well, teenager probably, purple was the height of fashion. You know, everybody wanted purple flares and purple everything. Do you remember that? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Purple was big news. So we're just going to go around this and give it some detail.
Imagine you in your glam rock days.
Well, I wouldn't say it was glam rock. I mean, I lived in Northumberland. Come on. You know, there was there wasn't really any glam rock much to be had.
Probably actually hasn't come round yet here.
No.
It takes a while.
Yeah, quite.
Still rockabilling.
But no, purple was big news. I remember pleading with my mother for a pair of purple Wranglers, purple cord Wranglers, which were, I mean, all the hipsters were wearing them. I did get a pair eventually, which is incredible. I knew my parents, it's quite incredible. They were very Victorian, weren't they, my parents? Was rich.
Yes, they were.
They just got left behind somewhere. They had incredibly good morals and standards and whatever, but absolutely nothing to do with today, really. I'm just going to take some pure quinacridone now and just jazz this up a little bit. And it brings them down into the centre. Because anemones really have lovely, lovely bright colours. They really do. So yeah, I think that's improved that. I think it does need the white circle replaced on it. You'll see that I'm washing my brushes in water, which means that I'm not using my golden open at the moment. I'm actually using another golden product. It's golden fluid acrylics. And the reason that I'm using these today is that it really is unbelievably warm in here. And I think that even the open paints would struggle to stay wet. So I'm using inky paints to start with in the hope that they will carry me forward through this little video. Dog's looking out the window, seeing something he needs to report to us. Heaven knows what that could be. So there we are. I think we're that one's about done. You'll see that as I've gone around with the lilac colour, I've sort of left gaps in it where you can see the lighter colour showing through, and it gives the effect of that's the edge of the petal without actually painting an edge in, which we don't really want to do. So this brings us down to this one. So we need a sort of more muted damask rose type colour. So how am I going to make the damask rose? Well, let's try adding that to that. A little bit of that and some white, and I think I've still got a lilac here. I need it to be more red, so I'll just take a bit of naphtha red. Is it naphtha? Yeah, naphtha red I'm using today. And I think we're not far off at that shade there. It's quite nice and it's appropriate for what we want. So with this darker colour, I'm going to go and make a feature of the outside of these petals. I'm using my very thin fine liner. I think it's the best tool for the job. If you've got a small brush that you're happy and confident using, then of course use that. But I'm relatively comfortable using this. So, Mr. H, I actually saw you waxing today. Didn't last long, like, did it?
No.
Too hot.
Too hot. Too Sunday.
Too Sunday. One of our initial club members, who's been a member right from the very start, and for that I thank her immensely, Dorothy. Dorothy was going to paint today, but guess what she's doing? Go and guess. On what you know about Dorothy, what would you think she'd be doing?
Taking a flying lesson?
So she's getting drunk. I really didn't think Dorothy was that sort of girl, but, you know, she is. Good luck to her.
Does no harm once in a while.
Oh, it does. I don't like it at all. So that's that one, and we'll just touch over onto this one as well. I just couldn't do it. I cannot stand the hangover. They're just in no ways a hangover. Is it worth it? You know what I mean? It's just awful.
I was more referring to other people doing it than you.
Oh, right.
You don't want to come across as having a downer on people having a drink.
No, I don't. I'm just saying that I, personally, I can't do it. I used to when I was younger, but then the hangover started just getting worse and worse. And in the end, if I had like one glass of wine, I'd get a hangover. So, frankly, what's the point? That's what I'd say. Frankly, what's the point?
I'm sure Frank would answer if he was here.
He's getting drunk.
He's off down the pub, his old Frank.
Don't blame him, do you?
No.
So, barring the waxing that you gave up on, what else have you been busy with?
I made pancakes earlier for lunch.
Oh, you did. And very jolly delectable they were. Yeah, I quite like that one. That's quite nice. Does it show up on camera? Right?
It does, shows up very nicely.
Okay. So then let's move on.
And later I'll be cooking dinner.
Yeah, dinner. What are we having for dinner?
Winner, chicken dinner.
Excellent. Love chicken dinner. This just needs this white ring in the centre brought back to life again. It's a good idea to put it in to start with because it gives you a good bit of direction of where you're going. I'm going to put the white ring in here again. I forgot to do that. So that's just a little bit too stark for my liking, so I'm just going to go and dig into it in various places just to fluffy it up a bit. And same with this. We'll have some black spots over it eventually because I think, no, maybe we're alright. I might come back to one of those later on. So I've got some purple here, and I just need to titivate these up a little bit. I did titivate them last night, but I need a bit more. And this down here, this shape here, this red bit, isn't actually a flower. I don't know. It's a bit of greenery, I think. It doesn't actually belong to this flower. If you have a look, the flower would be very misshapen if that was its centre petal. So I'm going to bring this into and over this white ring because it's too bold for my liking. I'll just get some red, a bit of water, and water that down a bit. This needs to be really red. It's the red anemones are red. They do have this sort of purpleness to them as well, so it's important to get that in. Let's just try and cover up some of that ring. It's just too much. I think I might need to come back to that when it's dry, but it's we're getting there with it. It's getting all right. It actually is totally devoid of any petal shapes. It's become a circle, which is not what it is. That's looking a bit better. Save the day. Okay, that's a bit better. That's helping it along its merry little path. So there's some red to go in here over this purple that we put in, but still leaving a little bit of that purple showing. You won't have a problem with that because red tends not to be, although it's dominant, it takes over any colour when you're mixing it. They tend to be transparent reds, so you won't have, I can't imagine you'd have too much trouble leaving the purple showing through. So at the end of this I will, I'll put a separate post on. There'll be a giveaway for this one, my version of it. I'll be giving that away. I'll sign it, and it will be on its way to whoever wins, wherever you are in the world. Of course I care where you are. I was going to say I really don't care where you are. I care where you are, but for the terms of postage and whatever, you can be anywhere in the world, and I will send it to you. Okay. I'm going to have to go back into this one because it looks a bit like it needs a bit more of this. I'm just going to darken it a little bit. So it's looking not the right colour. I have to darken it a bit more. Well, it doesn't seem to matter what I add to this, I just want to change colour. That's fine, that will do. Nice having the white there, but I think when I put it on it wasn't white, I think it was a light pinky purple. It's dry, it's just dried, it's not appropriate. Not appropriate for my picture, therefore it's getting painted out. That's a bit better, I think. Let's deal with this one again. These are being little blighters. When they dry, they're just nothing like I want them to be. was going to say to you there, is anybody saying anything? But I forgot we're actually, this is a video. So no, I guess nobody's saying anything. Apart from us. Okay. So where do I go to now? The blues, possibly. I'm quite happy with the white. It needs just the tiniest little bit of green that we'll put in when we come to do all the greens. I quite like those red ones. I like this one. See how they dry. I think they might be okay. Which leaves us just the blue really to have a look at. So I got out cerulean blue and ultramarine because what I need is kind of a mixture of the two. Tonight it's a lovely bright blue, really is gorgeous. So this one I've already been over with the dark. I'm just going to highlight it a bit. We're actually looking at the back of this flower. This is the back. So we'll paint it in that way. And I think that's absolutely fine for that. It hasn't, on the picture, it hasn't got a white circle, but all my flowers are going to have white circles because an enemy should. And this one, sitting here in the shade, behind all the others, is actually very dark. So we'll paint him in this colour without putting any white through it at all. It is a lovely colour, this, isn't it? It's gorgeous. And there's just a little portion of him there that you can see. Okay, so that just leaves us with this, the large one at the front. That's going to add a teeny bit more ultramarine to that. I just want it a little bit bluer. And we'll just start putting these petals in. This one hasn't got its white centre in either. So try and go the way that the petals go. You get a much nicer finish. For example, you would just start painting that way. It would just silly, frankly. Okay, this one here is pretty much white with a very dark. Pick up another little bit of ultramarine. It's very dark down here, around the edge of him. The rest of him is bright, bright white, which is lovely. It's really lovely. So there wasn't very much work left to do last night, but I'm glad we're doing it today in the daylight because I think you can see, you pick up the colours better, I think. So there, I think that's about it really. This seems to have a tiny little bit of lilac in it, so I'm just going to put that because it is our front feature flower. It's full frontal. I'm just mixing a bit of blue with a bit of the lilac that we had before. I'll just come in with a little bit of that. Okay, I'm fairly happy with that. think that's fine. What do you think, Mr. H?
Can
you see anything apart from the leaves and stuff in the background?
White centre of the one you've just done.
Yeah, and this one needs finishing.
And that one and the red one above it probably needs just a
bit
of definition on the leaves. Now it's dried.
Yeah.
The petals, you can't pick out the petals particularly well. Certainly not on the camera.
Well, that was right, because it actually had no petals. I just invented them for it. I mean, it did have petals, I just missed them out. And then I came along and painted them in. So I'm doing this in a mix of naphtha red and quinacridone magenta to get it that really, really lovely bright colour. Now there, can you see them on camera or not? No?
Not particularly well, but it's probably to do with the light more than anything. Best person to tell is probably you.
Well, I can see them, but they aren't ultra clear, to be fair. That's kind of about all I can do with them, really.
That helped, though.
It helped?
Yeah.
That's good.
So there's just the
other red one?
No, the red one's fine. I think it's just the white centre on the last blue you did and the white one to finish off, isn't it?
Okay. What colour have I got in here now? Blue. Why have I got blue? Right, so I'll just get some green out. The green that we have was that gorgeous mixture that I told you about between black and yellow, which gives you a really, really rich, lovely, lovely olive green colour. But I'm thinking I'm going to move into a more greeny green, just as a contrast from the olive green. So let's have a look and see what I've got. I have a plethora of greens now. And I think I'll go with, I just want something that's different to what I've got. I'll go for cobalt green because it looks like it might have a little bit of blue as an undertone. It's certainly very different from the colour that we already have. So where's my little, let's get my spatula and I'll just mix a bit of this up into the white that we've got and see what, yeah, that's going to be alright. Sometimes when you mix with white you get a colour you're not exactly expecting. But you can see this is really quite bluey, it's quite minty. So it is a very different colour to the green we've got, which I think will be alright. If not, we'll just have to take it off. Right, so I'm back with my sword. I thought I had a smaller sword than this, but it doesn't really matter. Oh yeah, there it is. I will take that one over as well because I want some bigger leaves like these ones, which actually have nothing whatsoever to do with either anemones or daffodils, but I just thought that they completed the piece because I'd missed out bits that he'd put in here. There's some sort of blue foliage, blue flowers in there which I haven't put in, so I needed to jazz it up, so I put big flowers in. Just wondering now if that green's just going to be not right. I'm bottling out of using that green. It's a bit minty, isn't it?
A bit too minty, probably.
I'll just add a little bit of that and see what happens. Let's mix it together in our witch's cauldron.
Don't forget you've got that erroneous red petally thing.
Yeah. Here you mean?
No, on the red flower. You remember you said there's a bit
Oh yes, that bit there. You're on the ball today, aren't you? You're listening.
Sorry?
You're listening.
Pardon?
Oh, give over.
Give over.
I'm concentrating. Yeah, that's. I like that. I'm happier with that. The other one was a bit too not right. A bit too not right. Okay, let's get going. Mr. Handyman's quite right. There is a section here that I've painted red for a flower, which actually was greenery. I've got my sword brush, but you know, any brush. And I'm just going to put a bit of texture in here. You know, not much, but just so it doesn't look flat. That's all. Now then, with regards to these nice leaves that we made with the sword yesterday, I like them. I love them. I love the shape and everything. We've got this row of like red Indians here, you know, sitting with their spears up. I'm really sorry. That's probably extremely un-PC. I think they're called Native Americans. So it's like a row of Native Americans sitting with their spears up, or from other parts of the world too, I'm sure. Wish I hadn't started it down this route. So I'm just going to go into that and break it up a little bit. Not enough paint, missus. You remember last night I showed you how to use the sword brush. It's really, you know, it's a handy brush to have, or at least it's a handy brush to know that it's there should you ever need to buy it. It's particularly useful if you're doing lots of foliage, grasses and the like. That's looking a bit better, isn't it? I think.
Yes, definitely.
And I'm just going to sort of loosely add these. I think I've got a huge pile of green now. Right, okay. I think that's a bit better. I like that better. Now then, you can also make your sword do wide stroke leaves. Load it up, put it down, go over to one side and pull it up, put it down, go over to the other side and pull it up. And you'll end up with these nicely shaped leaves. So, let's do that then. I'm going to have to, at some stage, mix up one of our olive green potions, because that's what this white flower really needs. So I'll just merrily put some leaves around the place, and then we'll come back to that olive green. So you see, these are easy to achieve. And once we've got the olive green made, I'll just put a line around the down the middle, like a vein that leaves have. Push it to one side, push it to the other, bring it into a little point. I bet it's horrible watching my lives, because I'm always trying to bring you things that are new to me or that I've just discovered. And I just know if I was in your situation watching this, I'd really want to have all of those things. And who doesn't love new kit? We all love new kit. You like new tech, don't you, Mr. H?
Yeah. Technophile.
New cameras and new whatever. Which is great, because we all benefit from that, of course. Okay, I don't think that necessarily needs any more. Certainly not of that colour, anyway. What do you think, Mr. H?
I think that's a good place to stop.
Yep.
Before you get carried away.
I know. Now I need to just mix up. Let's have a look at this and see what colour it really is. Maybe get away with yellow with that. I should try yellow. I've got white already down, so I haven't got a problem putting yellow on top of the colour if I've got white already there. So let's just thin this out. I might just take a little bit of this green. Yeah, I think that'll be better than just pure yellow. I'll pick some of that up. It's just kind of a suggestion of it, really. Mind your hand in the leaves. Yeah, that colour's fine. It's good. It's a good colour. That's a petal that's sideways on to us. Okay. I'm just going to pick a little bit of white up and come back in the other way. Well, I would if I had any white. It's all been corrupted with green and yellow. See how fluid this is? It's like water, consistency of water, which is good when you're trying to pick up stuff on your little brush. So let's just come in and make sure everybody knows this is white. Leave some of the grey, some of the green. It's just the final coat. Just to give it its full definition. Okay, we'll leave that grey because, as I say, it's turned on its side. So there we are. Now that I've got the white out, I'm just going to go over that white at the bottom of here and make sure it really is white, because that's an important part of our composition. Okay, so this one needs a ring around. Let's have a check to make sure we've all got rings. That one hasn't got one, but I am going to put one in. This one has one. I'm going to have to pick up a little bit more and do this one. Okay, so for now, I need a different colour green, don't I, for some extra leaves. I don't know why I'm asking you, Nico, so.
You certainly need a vein on those ones that you've done.
Yeah.
And then you might want to get some dark underneath that.
Yeah, some dark colour, just kind of waiting for stuff to dry. But
use the Poscas for a bit of detail on there.
What I'm going to do when that white dries is I'm going to put the black spots. If you have a look on the original, there's black spots all around the centres.
Yeah.
So I think the easiest way to do that is the Poscas.
Yeah. And the...
Well, I already put the orange in there with the Posca, so I'm quite happy that's looking alright.
Did you not outline the petals before?
Oh, yeah.
Highlights of the petals on the white ones.
Yeah.
We just thought we had, that was all.
Yeah, you probably did.
I was just thinking something you can do
look at this
when you wait for it to dry.
Look at that. That is a beautiful colour. Okay, so I dropped this in the water earlier, but it'll be fine. drop the handle end in. So let's pick up some of this, and we'll just add some more leaves here and there. Maybe smaller, slightly more delicate ones. Shall I put one on the red or not? Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Now it's got one, it needs two. Make sure we've got enough paint. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. I'm just going to have to add a couple up here now, and I'm just, after that I'm just going to use the Posca and just do a bit of fine detailing. Because I have them, so why not?
You can be doing the vein on the leaves with the Posca.
Oh no. Right, I'm done. I'm done. I like that.
To the ones over the red need to dry.
What do they need?
On the camera it's showing there's the red coming through.
On here?
Yeah,
it is coming through a bit, but you know, I've made a transparent colour, it's alright. It'll be alright. It's a painting.
Just bringing things to your attention.
Yeah, thank you.
Don't get naughty.
Bring these up. Okay. What about there? What about there? I'm not altogether happy with that white, if I'm brutally honest with you. And it was my favourite one and the other one, so I'm going to have to rectify that. I think I'm going to use some heavy body white. I don't think I can just get enough oomph out of those liquids. A tiny amount is all that's required. The brush is nice and clean. I don't really want to bring any dirty water over onto it, so I'll do my best. It is white, it needs to be white. These lines need thinned down a bit too obvious. It's so thick I can't really get too much of it on this brush, but and the centre of this isn't white, it's green. That's better, I think. Yeah, that's better. That's much better. I'm happy now with that. Hooray! Okay, now, Posca pen time. Let's start with the yellow. Can you shake the white for me, please? And I will be shaking all over. So you shake it, you just do that once and you see the colours come out, so you're ready to go. So, I did the yellow. What did I do with the yellow one? I can't remember now.
You outlined the petals.
It looks like a darker yellow. I can't see that. I've got a darker yellow.
There's only yellow or orange that I'm aware of. I think you made
the yellow's brighter.
The yellow's brighter in the first instance, I think.
Is that white done? Is it ready to go?
So.
I'm just going to turn this around because otherwise I'm going to get my hand in the white paint. So this is just kind of a brief outline here.
Zoom in a little, I might be able to see a bit better maybe. I can see that now on my camera.
So it just kind of brings these to life really, because they're a bit lost in the composition. So they stand out a good lot more now, I think. And the black, I'm going to put a white line in round here. I know I could have painted it in, but I've got white in my hand, so why not? And everything else has got white. Yep. Okay. So I need the black to put the little fuzzy black bits in. How's the black shaking up, is it? God, it looks a lot better in real life than it does in the camera. So really I'm just going to go around and put some black dots in. And I think this is really where the Posca pen comes into its own. You've seen me struggle trying to get spots on. Just come inside onto the white ring, occasionally. And I think that's about it. What does that look like?
Pull it towards you slightly. Tilt it up at the front end.
Front end.
And that's the bottom end, the top end. Just the camera's letting in too much light, but I can't reach it to turn it down.
So right, okay. I think there's some little white flowers lurking in the background there, look. Just give them a bit of life. There's one there. And there's the tail end of one there.
I can't reach the camera to turn the light down, it's overexposing at the minute.
Okay. So that's that. That's alright, you can see that okay, can't you, I think?
Yeah.
That's the anemones. This was my other version of them. It's amazing, isn't it? Same person.
I can't see that.
Same person, but quite very different outcome. So I will be giving this away, my original copy, if you'd like, as a giveaway. I'll sign it and send it off to you. I'll put a different post on about that and where you'll have to comment below and share my page, please, if you would. So that's it done. It's been slightly torturous, this one, hasn't it? But the next live next week's about faces. So hopefully that'll be good fun. Thanks for bearing with me throughout, prevailing, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.